Welcome to the 9 News Business Buzz. I'm Ryan Fraser, 9 News business expert. When we talk about the future of the Colorado economy, we aren't just talking about tech as we know it. We're talking about the next massive technological frontier, quantum computing. Colorado has officially positioned itself as an epicenter for this industry, pulling together an unprecedented alliance of universities, tech giants, and local startups. We're looking at a sector backed by over $1 billion in private capital that aims to create 10,000 local jobs over the next decade. Joining us to break down what this means for our workforce and our local economy is Jesse Olson, the newly minted CEO of Elevate Quantum. Jesse, welcome on the program.
Good to have you. Thank you so much for having me.
Jesse, congratulations again on the new role. Now, for the viewer watching at home who hears quantum and assumes it's science fiction like I did, with Sam Beckman and Quantum Leap, how do you explain in everyday terms what this technology actually does? And why is this such a massive win for Colorado that's building out this ecosystem?
Great. Okay. Well, I'm going to caveat I'm the furthest thing from a physics professor, but the way that I think about this, so quantum takes advantage of principles in quantum mechanics. So classical mechanics is everything you forgot from your high school physics class. You throw something in the air, it's going to come back down. You throw a ball against the wall, and it's going to bounce back at you. But when you start to measure and observe what's happening at a very, very small scale, those rules no longer apply. And you are now operating under the laws of quantum mechanics. So there are a lot of strange phenomenon that honestly I'm still wrapping my head around. Principles like superposition. So superposition is this principle that a particle can be in more than one state at once. So these things called qubits that we leverage in quantum computing, they can be not just a 1 or a 0, they can be a 1 and a 0 and everything in between. This is foundational to how we get these super quantum computers in the market. The second thing that is strange about what happens at this really, really small scale is this concept of entanglement. And so for myself, I have a hard time envisioning this at a small scale. But if you think about 2 tennis balls, and if you were to spin those, in the rules of quantum mechanics, eventually they would get out of sync, spin in different directions. But if those 2 things are entangled, they will spin in the direction you set them at the same rate, no matter how far apart these 2 tennis balls are, and they will share all of the same information. So in applications in quantum sensing, this is critical. So these different applications, you ask what it means for Colorado. Colorado is on the frontier of this technology. We are home to more Nobel laureates in this space than anywhere else in the United States. We have 72 companies, making us the largest cluster of quantum companies anywhere in the United States. We have the largest cluster of quantum talent, and we have a strong ecosystem of funders, of government, and supply chain.
Yeah, now let's talk about that talent, because the workforce is such an important part of this, and it's where this, in my view, really hits home for so many. Your organization is aiming to create 10,000 new jobs by 2030 with a median salary of $125,000. This is good paying jobs, by the way. But most surprising stat, for me at least, is that 80% of these jobs won't require a PhD. You don't have to be Sam Beckman, but they do require technical and manufacturing skills and capabilities. Talk to us a little bit about kind of the types of jobs and the training that Coloradans can get perhaps today to help them get these opportunities.
Perfect. Okay, great. Well, let me tell you one of the things that is really exciting right now. So historically, quantum has been the domain of national labs and academia and physicists. But over the last 5 years, we're seeing this transition. This isn't just an idea. It's not just a question of, is quantum real? It's here. And so the question is, how do we manufacture it? How do we scale it? And workforce remains one of the most critical bottlenecks, not just a headcount issue, but because the composition of the workforce is fundamentally changing. We now need engineers that can change ideas into something you can hold in your hand. And we need technicians that are able to work side by side with those physicists and engineers in the labs and manufacturing shops. This is hard. This isn't a workforce that's ever existed. And part of it, when we look to our community college system, well, we're asking them to buy millions of dollars of equipment that is expensive. And so part of what Elevate and a number of our partners are doing is that we're starting to get that commercial grade equipment available to technicians so they are ready to take these jobs.
Well, and it's going to be exciting, I think, for very many people to take these jobs and get the training so they can. I want to keep this conversation moving, what I think, in the right direction. Elevate Quantum has managed to wrangle over 120 organizations, from CU Boulder to Microsoft, NVIDIA, and IBM. How do you get these global giants and universities to collaborate, and what does having this kind of corporate muscle mean for the startups that you're looking to foster and create and build here in Colorado?
I will say the diversity of that partnership is critical. So one of the things at Elevate we take a lot of learning from is the story of the transistor. Invented in Murray Hill, New Jersey, they brought this technology to life, but ultimately who brought it to the world was Silicon Valley. And the reason Silicon Valley brought this technology to the world is because they had this rare combination of ingredients. They had venture and supply chain, big tech, educators, all working together in this centralized vision for what this would look like. So in our own consortium, aligning the interests of companies and government, and it's a hard thing to be able to get all of these different organizations together and swimming in the same direction. So we've built that at Elevate around the centralized vision of how do we make sure that Colorado is where quantum is commercialized.
Yeah, look, I look at it and I say, look, like many things, it takes a village, right? And so bringing people together from all backgrounds and all, if you will, lived experiences is so essential, I think, to any industry's success. I want to end on this question with you, Jesse, because I look at, $40 million dollars flowing into the state for supporting these businesses, billions of dollars committed to capital. How do we make this sticky? So that this quantum industry really makes Colorado home, not just for 5 or 10 years when the money may dry up, but for the next 50 years. How do we make Colorado home to quantum computing?
Yeah. So I think when I look at this, so Elevate Quantum, this goal of commercialization, there are 3 main challenges to it, and this is whoever wins these 3 challenges is going to be where this sticks. So the first one is workforce, which we've hit on. You've got to be able to scale that. The second piece is access to capital and barriers to formation. This is not a cheap industry to get started in. And then the third piece is around supply chain, is that our ability to innovate quickly and keep a competitive advantage over different ecosystems that have been fab infrastructure in a way that we haven't. We have to be thinking about this beginning to end. And so part of our mission is that we are providing the spaces that quantum companies can come, get access to the services and the equipment that they need, and then be able to access the kinds of supply chain inputs that are allowing them to iterate at a speed comparable or faster than some of our competitors in this space, areas like China and Europe and some of these other geographies.
I'm going to add one more just for no other reason, I believe, and that's ensuring that we have the policy environment here in Colorado and the Rocky Mountain region that continues to make this a place people and organizations want to be. It is incredible to think that the next major global technology shift is running straight through the Rocky Mountain region. Jesse Olson, CEO of Elevate Quantum, thanks so much for coming on the program. It's great to have you and look forward to having you back on.